You're not even get that on camera.
Oh, we're going to get 14 chickens because my mom, she has a chicken problem.
Eight, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I'll bet you there's some fawns out there laying down.
25, 26, 27, 28.
Is that what happens when you get too many ladies in one room?
I wouldn't know. How many do we have now?
20.
Is that sufficient for your needs?
Yes.
This is what a day's worth of wood looks like sitting next to our wood stove. We don't like the way it looks, and I've been trying to figure out how I can make something that would not only go with the theme of our house, but also be a functional piece of furniture. I found this old industrial cart for sale, and the price was right. I only gave $75 for it. It weighs somewhere around 300 pounds. It took everything I had just to get it loaded up in my truck. It's too big, it's too tall, but I love the look, and although I know nothing of its history, just putting my hands on it, it's American steel. It's riveted together with old, heavy-duty steel rivets. This thing has to be close to 100 years old. I found some markings on it that indicated that it may have been made in Chicago. And there's part of me that feels bad cutting this thing down. But on the flip side, it was sitting on the side of somebody's home, covered in snow, slowly wasting away. Now, as I determine just in fact what size I want it to be, I start cutting the steel, and it becomes very apparent that this is a whole different kind of steel. It takes much more time to cut through it. And frankly, my little Lincoln buzz box is barely hot enough to get it welded together properly. If you noticed in the beginning, it had bumpers on the front and the back of the cart, which are made of spring steel. I have to plug my little welder directly into the house, eliminating any extension cords. Just to get the welds hot enough that they're burning in a way where it will last. Set. One there, one there. Got me set on the ground.
I'm just trying to picture what the world look like on the outside because it'd honestly be cuter on the outside.
See it on the outside?
Yeah.
Oh, no. That whole thing is so heavy.
So much for helping you.
Okay. It might be kind of cool to do the wheels on the outside. This thing must have been rated for like 1,000 pounds.
Like for what?
I don't know. So you'll see those. That's what it was designed for. I'm trying to keep it as original as we can.
Original without cutting it and moving it and changing it. And
Completely
washing
redesigning it.
Completely
Taking this stuff off. Okay.
Yay. Very creative. Come on, boys. Come on. No.
The idea is that it will be mobile. We can roll it from the wood stove to the back door, closer to the firewood pile, load the thing up, and put it back. When I'm done with it, it should hold a couple of days of firewood. And hopefully it should also look good doing this. Okay, thank you. This project was a weak excuse to stand outside, and by the end of the week, my red neck was just a little bit more red, compliments of the afternoon sun.
I'm about to organize this little closet down here, and it reminds me of that scene in Mary Poppins. You know, she has this little bag and she pulls out all kinds of stuff that you didn't even know could fit in that little tiny bag. Well, that's about how this closet is.
Now, if I had things my way, every piece of decor, furniture, would be an antique of some kind. But I recognize that this is not a bachelor pad, and Cedar has been waiting a long time to decorate this house. She also loves the idea of the cart, and while she offers her input along the way, she gives me the room to let me do what I do. In the meantime, Cedar's inside the house, organizing the closet under the stairs, removing all the camping equipment, making room for the food storage, and this is where she shines. Her organizational skills and her ability to pay attention to detail is second to none. Over the last few months, I continue to see these ads for an inexpensive train horn. The horn is supposed to be 150 decibels, and the cost is less than $25. Now, in last week's video, you saw me debut the horn, but I had the thought that I would either put it on my truck or maybe put it on the Ranger. I decided to go with the Ranger. I decided to try and be a little bit sneaky and install it in such a way where maybe the kids wouldn't see it, and I might have an opportunity to raise their blood pressure just a little bit. The first time I honked the horn, it echoed between the mountains. Now I've just got to find the right opportunity to share this with my kids. Back to the cart. I could have left the bumpers that were on the front and the back of the cart off, but in my opinion, it was another major piece of its character. This is spring steel. I'm tacking it in place with my welder, and then again I had to plug my welder directly into the house and burn the welds in as hot as I possibly could. But truthfully, even after that weld, I could take this piece of spring steel and whack it against my sawhorse and it would break in half. But because it's only going to be used decoratively, it should be fine. In whatever way the industrial cart was used, I'm not sure, but it had a lot of grease and oil residue on it. I wanted to take it into town, pressure wash it off, clean up the wood as much as I can before bringing it inside the house. I don't know what it is about projects like this that just make me feel good. Using my hands, building things, whether they come out exactly the way I want them to or not, it just makes me feel good doing this stuff. It most certainly feels good to be outside, but there's just something about working with my hands that brings true joy. Imagine if I had my shop done what I'd be capable of. I might be able to go 20 minutes without losing my tools. I got a chance to use my new anvil for just a minute, and once I get that thing strapped to a piece of heavy wood, I look forward to putting that in the shop and making it a useful tool as well. Now, as I put this thing back together, instead of using rivets, I used carriage bolts. Before I install the carriage bolts, I use a sanding disc on my angle grinder and grind the chrome plating off of all the carriage bolts so I can make them look like they're original, as you will see a little bit later in the video. Now there's 86 million different projects on the internet using black iron plumbing pipe. I have cut and threaded thousands of feet of black iron pipe, and this is the first time I felt like it would be a good place to use it. Because I no longer own the proper equipment to cut and thread the black iron pipe, I had to carefully remove a section of the pipe and weld it back together so it fit properly on the cart. Now this is where grinding the chrome off of all of the carriage bolts is going to pay off. I've done this before, and making a quick mixture of hydrogen peroxide, vinegar, and salt causes all of this steel to rust and rust rapidly. Everywhere that I welded and then cleaned up with a grinder gets a coating of this mixture. All of the black iron pipe as well gets a coating. And 25 or 30 minutes later, this is how it looks. Now to put a clear coat over everything to preserve the look and also to keep the bits and pieces of rust from flaking off and falling on the floor. It's a little bit higher off the ground than I liked, but other than that, I love it.